This is pretty much how I start every morning of mine. Hot water, lemon, and honey. Today we're gonna run a progression run, meaning that every mile subsequently we're gonna have to increase our pace. I call them half marathon for breakfast. Let's enjoy it. Navigate to Lake Miramar.
Alright, Miramar Reservoir. Let's go.
All the time, he's my mind. All the time, he's my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you.
What's up, Joaria? We can't see you.
What's up, Joaria?
Are you ready for this run?
Yes, sir. Indeed, I am.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
He's my mind. I know that you're dangerous, I'm addicted to you. I might rent the Lambo and go drive it like it's stolen. I've been living wild, I'm just going through the motions. Stumbling out the Uber, grab my hand, gave me the notion. Swimming in your water, but it feels just like the ocean. I can't lie, I've really been addicted to you. I'm a one. I'm a one. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Little me tools, no, I can't be fooled. Little me tools, no, I hate these dudes. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Anything you could do, I could do better. I can do better than you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you. Drop my first single, like, oh, he rap. You thought it was a drought, that's cap. I get the front and I get the back. Lil Uzi the facts, like that's a rack. Bought some new boots just to wear them out. Bought a new Beamer, I run it to the ground. I used to say nothing, I bet they hear me now. Ain't no my business, no need to hear me out. Talking too much, say less. If it's less than the check, say less. If you can say it best, say less. I'm taking all best, say less. Talking too much, say less. If it's less than the check, say less.
We just started mile 9. How do you feel?
Pretty good. This mostly has been a progression run. Started at pace 8:50 and then currently cruising at 8. Sometimes getting 7:40s, and now our average pace so far has been 8:14.
Low me tools, no, I hate these dudes. I'm a one-to-one, I can never be you. Anything you could do, I can do better. I can do better than you.
Almost mile 11. Still going.
From no man, how you talking ownership and no land? I got my roll on, now I'm rolling. I drive all my cars like they're stolen. You got on and put your homies out for ransom. I got on and put my homies on the program. Girls to me in my DM tryna link up. I leave them on wreck and get a no jam. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you. Little me tools, no, I can't be fooled. Little me tools, no, I hate these dudes. I'm a one-to-one, I could never be you.
13. We just finished our half marathon for breakfast. Today we did the pretty fast run, pace 8. How do you feel?
It feels like a tempo run, honestly. So I feel amazing.
That's not how you feel, that's the type of workout.
Yeah. So I feel amazing.
Yeah.
Usually after tempo runs you feel really good. And I was surprised because I didn't think that we can run pace 8 for 13 miles. Because before, when we used to run for fun, pace 8 was like our pace for 4 or 5 miles. We would be really proud. But now, I think if we could have pushed it to 7:30 if we treated it like a race day.
Right.
And we had like maybe water stations and some gel packs on the way, we could have easily hit 7:30.
I wouldn't say easily, but we would have hit 7:30.
Yeah.
Alright. It's pretty good, yeah, pace 8. I think it's funny because remember a little bit ago we wanted to run, like dedicate a specific day to running a half marathon, pace 8, but here we are, just around the morning. Also, let's look at the view right here, looks pretty cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Let's actually go down. Last words?
If I can do it, you can do it too. Let's get it!
I'm a one. I'm a one. I'm a 1 to 1. I could never be you. Low me tools, no, I can't be fooled. Low me tools, no, I hate these dudes. I'm a 1 to 1.
One thing that I really enjoy about running in the morning is that your day hasn't really even started and you already feel productive.
I can never be you. Anything you could do, I could do better. I can do better than you. Anything you could do.
This is my post-run breakfast, and I'm looking back through my old Nike Run app and just checking out my runs and how I have improved over time. It's kind of cool to look at. Get to the best part of this video. 7 reasons for why I really like Garmin 945. I'll go over some of the things that I don't like about it, but let's start off with a few of the things that I really like about it. So let's start off with the most important one is charge. 945, if you have 100% at the beginning of the week, I roughly run about 50 miles a week, and the charge usually lasts all the way through the week, which is pretty good. I had Samsung Active 2 and the charge would usually last about 10 to 15 miles, and that wasn't really possible because sometimes I was doing half marathons and it would die on me halfway. So not very practical. But with 945, the cool part is like I'm never really worried about charge. I could probably have 20% left and I could still go and run half marathon, and I'm not worried about the charge. One thing that I really like about Garmin 945, actually this one applies to most watches, that it really motivates you by giving you all the statistics about your VO2 max, about your resting heart rate, about your steps, and so on. So that's really cool. And if you pair that up with Strava, you literally have your coach and your fan base. That's all you need. I mean, since we start talking about being a coach, let's talk about that. Coaching. Well, Garmin 945 has a separate, completely interface for it, and it tells you about how much speed work you've done, which is anaerobic, how much high aerobic you've done, which is your tempo runs or your threshold runs, and how much low aerobic you have done, which is your building base, regular easy runs. I don't necessarily follow it myself because my running partner and I, we both sit down and we look at the areas that we need to improve and we focus on improving those areas. But I feel like if I was by myself, I would definitely use those metrics to structure my workout. Also, there's body battery that tells you how much energy you have and also how much rest time you should have until your next workout. Those are all honestly pretty accurate. Not all the time. There have been times where it's telling me to rest for 3 days, but I feel completely fine. But there's actually been a few times where I felt like I was doing completely fine, but then halfway through the workout, I was really tired, which I was quite surprised, to be honest with you. But they do have their weaknesses, but most of the time I think it's pretty accurate. Another thing that I really enjoy about Garmin 945 is the feature called Pacer Pro. What Pacer Pro is, let's say if you're running half marathon and halfway through your half marathon you're wondering if you're hitting the pace or not. So what Pacer Pro is, giving the distance that you've passed so far, it'll tell you how many seconds behind or how many seconds ahead you are, which is really cool. And here's my reasoning for it, because if you're running like at a pace 10 per mile, it's pretty easy to calculate if you're trying to run 3 miles, right? You can just multiply 10 by 330 minutes, right? But if you're running at a pace something weird like 9:47, try multiplying that by 3 while you're running at top speed. It's kind of hard. So that's the cool part about having a Pacer Pro. It tells you exactly how many seconds you're behind your pace. And reason number 5 for why I really like Garmin 945. Before I even started pursuing
running a marathon in under 3 hours. Before, when I was just running casually, probably a few miles, maybe 3 miles, I always had this obsession of inventing headphones that could store music. And so, because I didn't really like having to carry my bulky phone around, which was kind of really annoying. So, but now with Garmin 945, I could literally sync my Spotify here and listen to my wireless headphones, which is just as good as if I had music in my headphones. So this is probably why I actually bought 945, was probably solely for this reason. Was first, when I started training for sub-3 marathon, I was trying to make my runs fun and trying to go to different places, have fun, you know, discover San Diego and whatnot. And one thing that I discovered, I just didn't know a lot of places to run, and Strava had pretty good routes that they create for you, but I didn't have a watch that I could follow those routes with. So, and I didn't want to carry my phone, like I said in the last point. So this is why I got this watch. So this watch, 945, it gives you maps and it gives you turn-by-turn directions. So you can load a hike and go for like a 10-mile hike easily without getting lost, knowing that you're gonna find yourself back right at your car after 10 miles. Especially if you have, like, let's say if you have work or you have something to do, you don't wanna get lost. Even though that is an ideal situation, sometimes I have gotten lost, or sometimes Strava routes are, you know, takes you places that you're not allowed to go because of trespassing. But overall, it's actually really good. Like, it makes your run feel really adventurous and makes them really exciting and interesting. Definitely, it's a big plus for this watch, having a built-in GPS and maps and turn-by-turn direction. Last but not least, I think one of the most important things about Garmin 945, it's really lightweight. I sleep with it, I walk with it, I pretty much never take it off except when I'm charging. So the watch is pretty much becomes like part of your body. You never really feel it. So that's something that I really enjoy about Garmin 945, the fact that it's lightweight. So while the watch does have a lot of benefits, there are a few disadvantages, and sometimes it doesn't work perfectly. So one of the things that I found to start off this list was that sometimes the heart rate monitor is off, or it doesn't work completely. And so that's kind of annoying. It doesn't necessarily happen too many times, but once in a while, your heart rate, you're running a really easy run and it shows that your heart rate is like 170, 180. For me, that's usually like my tempo, or that's anaerobic hard workouts. So that's not pleasant, but it doesn't happen often, and it's usually really easy to tell whether it's off. So I would just take off my watch, kind of, you know, dry the sensor from sweat or whatnot, and usually goes back to normal. The second reason that I think this is more like an improvement that Garmin can implement pretty much at any time, but with battery, Garmin doesn't actually recognize naps as recharging. So let's say sometimes at night, if I get 6 hours during the day, I would nap for an hour or two, but Garmin doesn't recognize naps, which is not really ideal. So I think that's an improvement that they could easily implement in their software, and I think that should be something that they should already fix, because I've had this watch for quite a while now and doesn't seem to be happening. One of the things that I thought I would address, even though I personally never had an issue with that, but I've heard quite a few of my family members having issue with that. For some people, the wristband irritates their hand, so that's just something to keep in mind. I would advise just maybe switching off the wristband to a different material. Thank you for joining this video. If you found some value in this video, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps the channel. Also, next week, it's gonna be something cool. We're gonna be continuing our series, Do the Thinking Once, and we're gonna be working on our schedule. So stay tuned for that. Let's get to the most important part of this video, Garmin 945. So there's a few things that I really wanted to cover in this video, goods and bads. We're making videos like reason number five for why Reason number 5 for why I really like. Did that make sense?
I think so.
With my running mate, with my partner.
That was not planned, but okay, it's safe to say it's here. I present you the one and only 945. Okay. So it has a barometer.
What's a barometer?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it's something to do with height or some sort of a sensor that helps to determine something. But it's cool. It has it. So it has IQ because you can customize your watch. That's what it says. Wrist-based heart rate. Okay. Maps. Well, number one reason why we got it. Okay. Training status. It has music. Some of the more important aspects of this watch. GPS plus music mode is 10 hours. What that means is that you can track your activity and listen to music for 10 hours. It's important. The weight is 50 grams. If you're not listening to music, then only tracking activity is 36 hours, which is okay. Let me do it one more time. No, but did you see it? The box is sliding up and down. And then if you look like, and here we are. Okay.